If a person is called upon by a police officer who's in the process of making an arrest or being assaulted and fails to do so, they can be arrested, charged, and face either a fine or jail time upon summary conviction. There are calls to repeal the law. Martin George will weigh in on this. Very interesting, and may I say, well, some might see it as a bit archaic, but let's hear from you, Martin, as to your particular perspective and what's the overwhelming discussions happening within the legal and the legal corridors, as it were, because again, you're up to the time with the comments in that regard. Martin, good morning. Great to see you.
Yeah, hi, good morning to you, Jason, and good morning to your viewers on CNC3.
What's the consensus?
Jason,
what's the feeling coming out of that development with the driver?
Right, but just first of all, it's section 60, actually,
60.
Not 30, yes. Section
My apologies,
60
yes. Section 60.
Of the Police Service Act, Chapter 1501 of the laws of Trinidad and Tobago. And that section says,
yes,
if a person is called upon to assist a police officer who is, while in the execution of his duty, assaulted or resisted or in danger of being assaulted or resisted, and such person refuses or neglects to assist accordingly without reasonable cause, he is liable on summary conviction to a fine of $10,000 and to imprisonment for 1 year. Now, Jason, here's the interesting thing about it. In the circumstances of what we heard, you ask yourself, did the person have reasonable cause for neglecting or failing to assist? And I think that ends the matter right there, because in the current scenario of Trinidad and Tobago, you ask yourself, why would someone willingly want to expose themselves to the danger or risk of possibly also being assaulted by this person who the police would be trying to arrest, or exposing themselves to the risk of reprisal, basically, so that person could say, well, also you coming in to try and you playing police too, you are SRP, you are something resembling police, you coming to help police arrest me, and the person who's being arrested could say, well, look, I will mark your face and I come in for you, if you understand me. So, I mean, the situation in the society is such that one can understand the hesitation, the reluctance, the fear that an ordinary citizen would have in terms of jumping in.
So, Martin, you're looking at this in the context of the current climate of the country, because we have seen in other jurisdictions, people render assistance to police at a moment's notice. They jump in to help
and
apprehend.
That's why I'm framing it in that context, because you see, the law actually gives you that escape clause, so to speak, because it says without reasonable cause. So I think once this person can indicate that, look, hey, I was afraid for my life, I was afraid I would get hit too, I might be assaulted too, I might get beat up, or the person may come back after me, and then, the funny thing is, in our society, Jason, when you try to do good, such as that, say, for instance, if you jump in, if that person who you're trying to subdue along with the police hits you or cuffs you or beats you, who is going to take care of you? Who's going to pay for your damages? Who's going to pay for the assault that you yourself may have received? The way we make things difficult here in Trinidad and Tobago, one can fully understand the hesitation, the reluctance to get involved. Persons don't even want to get involved in terms of giving information, and then there's that next question of the trust of the police service. In other words, is there that public trust and confidence that you could feel, as you say, in other jurisdictions where people will jump in and help because they have that trust in the police service? In Trinidad and Tobago, unfortunately, you look at all the results, the statistics, it shows, at least certainly in our current climate, that there isn't that level of trust. So you could fully well understand that someone may say, hey, listen, and I mean, Jason, you've seen, the reactions of people in the public. A lot of people said, well, look, hey, they would have had to be arrested too, because, they would not have jumped in either.
And that's the irony. Do you think that with this development, in essence, it's kind of eroding, or it's creating that erosion really of public trust with the officers, with the particular going back and arresting this particular driver, and now he has to lawyer up and face the court?
And I think so. And I think that this presents a supreme opportunity for the commissioner of police to have some discussions with the DPP, and for them to be able to get together and say, hey, listen, we are not prosecuting this matter, because I think the public is scandalized by it. In other words, you have murder and mayhem occurring on a daily basis. You can't seem to get a handle on that. You can't seem to, have enough resources and whatever to deal with that. But you have resources to be able to go down, and arrest this maxi driver and say, well, look, he failed to assist an officer, while the officer was trying to make an arrest. Come on, I think it really appears to be, a very heavy-handed approach, and I don't think it has the support of the public, and it's something that they ought to look at and take a step to say, hey, listen, we are going to try to restore the public confidence by taking a decision to not go any further with the prosecution of this matter.
Martin,
just let me just make this point. The question of the arrest. All right. Now, under the law, an arrest is defined as the seizing or touching of a person or an individual with a view to restraining them, right? You have the case of Alderson versus Booth, a 1969 Queen's Bench, report. Now, in the book Commonwealth Caribbean Criminal Practice and Procedure, it is noted that an arrest can be constructive. So in other words, even if a police officer tells you, hey, listen, you stand up right there, don't move, and they haven't held you physically, and you feel, well, look, hey, I can't move because the police officer tells me to stand up there, then even that could be an arrest. So I just wanted to make that point. But more importantly, when the police went back on the subsequent occasion to find this maxi driver and arrest him, on what basis did they do so? That's an interesting point, because you see, under the Criminal Law Act of Trinidad and Tobago, and that's why the law is so important. Under the Criminal Law Act, it provides that the police can arrest without a warrant a person in such circumstances. But the thing is, did they do so in the correct way? In other words, was this an arrestable offense? And that's the essential thing. Under the Criminal Law Act, police can arrest without a warrant in circumstances such as that, where you think someone has committed an arrestable offense. But then the law defines what is an arrestable offense, and an arrestable offense is one for which you could be in prison for a term of 5 years at least. Now, if you look back at the law here, where it says under Section 60 of the Police Service Act, and it speaks to where the penalty for this is imprisonment for up to 1 year, then this does not come within the definition of an arrestable offense. So did they have a warrant when they went back to arrest this man? Because if they didn't have a warrant, that creates another issue, because then basically the arrest may have been illegal.
Null and void. Martin, what's interesting, this development really gives us a true sense as to where we are as a country. And it seems to me that we have made a sharp turn into a place of, I guess, self-preservation, and not really taking heed of the advice where we are told to be our brothers and sisters' keeper. Because the reality is, if police are effecting an arrest on someone who would have done damage to you or your family, you would assist. But we're talking here a total stranger, someone who you don't know. Most people might stay to the side and probably pull out the phone to tape. Very rare somebody will jump in to actually assist the police. Let's say they're being overpowered or manhandled, to run in and hold a man headlock. What? So it seems like, as you said, the current climate and the mood of the place, people seem now to kind of take a more step back approach. I'll let you have the closing remarks.
Yes. They would. And you cannot blame individuals in the society for doing so. You cannot blame them for doing so.
Okay, so you think this is one we're looking at ultimately a call to repeal this law? Where do we even start with the process?
Well, I mean, the point is, in the correct circumstances, I guess the law could have its place. But I mean, I think given the way things are in Trinidad and Tobago, I am not sure I can see us turn the corner anytime soon where people will feel that confidence, as you say, in other jurisdictions and other countries where they would willingly, go to the assistance or the aid of police officers in such circumstances. I think we are a very long way from that. So, the law definitely ought to be reviewed, and I think the Law Commission ought to take this on board as maybe an opportune time to consider this law and maybe make suggestions for either its repeal or replacement or some kind of amendment to it.
Yeah, so this is the Police Service Act, Section 30, Chapter 15. 60. What are you saying 30? I'm saying 60 right here?
Yeah, 60.
Section 60. Yes. Yeah, Chapter 1501. Martin, as we wrap things up, literally a couple, just about a minute or so or two before we head to the news, just a quick pivot from this story, your take on President Biden's, exit of the race. Interesting days and months ahead. Just your perspective in about a minute.
Yes. Well, the thing is, I think it was long in coming, but I think that maybe it was the best decision for the party, his party, and for the nation. I think that, the challenge that the Dems would have now is who is going to be best positioned to lead them. Now, my thinking is that if you were to get maybe someone like Michelle Obama to run as the presidential candidate and with Kamala Harris as her running mate, I think then the Democrats would stand a chance. But I'm not sure that of herself that Kamala Harris has the gravitas, the personality, or the charisma to be able to pull this off at this point. So it might be a question of be careful what you wish for. Because having now gotten President Biden to step down, the real question is who can pull this off? And you need somebody with that immediate, instant name recognition, brand recognition, with that power, that pull to really upend the Republican march to power, because otherwise I think their lead is going to be unassailable in the circumstances. So, the only person I could think of who might be able to, do that would be if maybe they are able to convince Michelle Obama to take the run for it and have Kamala as her VP pick.
Martin George, it was a pleasure. Thank you for touching base, and I'm sure we will get a chance to talk soon. Have a great day and a great week ahead.
Indeed. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Indeed, always. Martin George, attorney at law, on the program as per usual.